Hello and welcome to this video tutorial in Sure. In this video, we are going to show you how to create a new contract. If you remember, in the past videos, we created a project and we also added some users to the project. A project, as we define in Sure, is the works that the supervisor has to do for a client. That's what is defined the project. But so far, we have not added to Sure any works to actually be supervised. The works to be supervised in Sure are defined as contracts. A contract is usually the construction works that have to be done by a construction company or contractor to your client and that you have to supervise. A project can have as many contracts as needed. There are projects that involve supervising 3 or 4 or maybe only one. In this case, I'm going to show you how to add a contract, and we will see how to later on how to include the budgets and how to include the IPCs in this contract. To add a contract, just go and click on Add Contract sign in the project. The first thing that we are asked to fill up is the contractor. The contractor is the construction company. In this case, it is a new contract and it is a new project. We have no contractors defined, so we have to create one. Just click on the green button to create contractor, and this form will pop up. Just include a name. You don't need to actually fill out all the form. Only a name will be sufficient. I will call it contractor one. Contractor one. And just click save. So here we have a contractor already added to the system. The next thing that we need to include are the contract's identification names and numbers, and that goes according to what your contract is defined and what your contract includes. In some cases, it will be sufficient with just the contract name. In other ones, you will include the contract name plus the contract number, but you will always need to include at least for Sure a contract code, because this contract name can be very long. Sure gives you the facility to just define a code that will show up in all the screens and will identify your contract, so you don't have to actually show the whole full name if this contract name gets too long. Let's give our contract a name. I will give it, let's say, pipes for water supply phase 1, for example. Correct, take this, yeah, phase 1. The contract code, I will call it phase 1. In some cases, our clients require us to include the contract number in all the documents that will be generated during the project, IPCs, variation orders, etc. Sure allows you to input this contract number now, and it will add automatically this contract number to all the documents that will be generated down the road as your project is being implemented. Let's just keep a number, just make it up in this case. Next, include the currency of the contract, the currency that the contract is being nominated on. Let's make it up, say that our contract is in US dollars. And next, let's include the dates that are in your contract. Sure assumes that you have the contract already signed between the contractor and your employer, because before the contract is signed, there's really nothing to be supervised. So it is usual to include the dates that have been has occurred during the different stages of the signature, just as a reference. For those of you who still don't know, contract acceptance date is the date in which the employer has notified the contractor that the final offer has been accepted and that they can start the contract negotiations. In this case, I will include, just for us to make it easy, I will include a contract acceptance date last, I don't know, let's say 1st of August with a few months from now. So I can later on create an IPCs, and this is just, it will make it easy to do the tutorial. Of course, this contract acceptance date can be anytime. Then after you have the acceptance date, you have the contract signature date. This usually happens once the contractor has negotiated with the employer and they have come out with a final agreement. And in this case, let's say that it was in September. And finally, the commencement date, which is actually the date in which the works are supposed to start according to the contract signed. Usually before that, there is nothing applies. And let's say we will do it in also, let's say the 2nd of September. 2 more dates to finish. The construction end date. Of course, this is defining the contract, is the time that it takes for the construction stages. In this case, let's just let's include it the 30th of November in the 1 more year even. And the last one is the end of the deferred liability period. Usually when you have the contract, finish the construction, there is always a time between the taking over certificate by the client and the final certificate, in which there is a deferred liability period, and that the contract is still in effect. It doesn't include any construction, but it includes some supervision. So let's say that we will finish in this contract, the deferred liability period will be 1 year after the construction finished, let's say 2022. And the last item to be filled up is the number of decimals to use for rounding up the budget. Depends on your currencies. Most of the currencies use 2 decimals. That means you have dollars and cents, you have euros and cents. So usually with 2 is sufficient. You can also select 1 or none if your currency does not admit any decimals. Just click Save, and we have the contract. So if you go to your project, see that your project contract for water networks, you can see that there is already a card here. Again, following the same user interface as any other screen in Sure. You have the card from the newly created contract. Just notice that first is the code, the contract code that we inputted or that we created when we fill up the form, and then there is the name of the contract. The status is ongoing. A contract also, like a project, has different statuses, and they are independent to the project. Of course, if the project is stopped, all the contracts will be stopped. But a project can have contracts that are ongoing, contracts that are in the deferred liability period, and contracts that are cancelled. That's something that we will explain later on. And this is the how the contract information page looks like. We will go in details later on, but so far I think it is sufficient for this video. I hope that it has been useful for you, and I hope to see you next when we add sites and we will start working with the contracts and with the budgets. Thank you very much for your attention. See you. Bye-bye.